Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the 2D RPG with Cree. That's me. So, before we start getting into anything else, we're going to update our player position in the map. So, like I was showing you guys in the last video, we hit play here. We just spawn right in the middle of the house. It doesn't look really good. This is set up because our position is here, but if we added another door right here, we would end up. Sorry, gotta put those colliders on. We would end up in the same spot, regardless of where a door is. Or if we went into another house and came out, we would pop out in front of this house. We don't want that. So, let's pause this. This is going to be really simple because we already have our game state navigation and navigation prompt scripts. So let's go ahead and get those loaded up. Alrighty, here we are. So right away, let's get rid of this start and void function. We're not going to need those for this. So we're just going to call this game state class because we're not going to be using the model behavior. So then also we have to make this static because it's going to be running in the background. So what do we need? Well, we need to do a public static player, and then we're going to call that current player. We're just doing this for now until we start up a save load system, just to give an instance for the player. So then we need to do a scriptable object, create instance, and then of course we need to put our player in there, and then we need to call that. And this is going to give us an error because that P is not capitalized. Just like that. So then also we need to make a public static pool, and we're going to call this save last position because we want to be able to save the last position that we were at. So save last position equals true. Oh, I don't know why we put that equal sign there. Just like that. Also with this, I think the best approach to this would be using another dictionary like we used last time. That way we can save all the locations in a dictionary and then just reference that dictionary later. That actually sounds pretty good to me. So we're going to say string vector3 vector3, and then what is going on here? We're going to say last scene. I can't even spell here. Last scene positions equals new dictionary, and then we're going to say string vector3 and then we need to call that. So just like that, we need to fix this. That's why it's giving me an error. Vector3, and then why is this giving me an error still? Oh, because we never defined this dictionary. There we go. Simple enough. Sorry about that. So now that we have this, let's go ahead and set up some methods within here. So we're going to do a public static vector3, and we're going to call it get last scene positions position, and then we're going to name it a string called scene name. Alright, that looks good to me. In here we're going to do our curling brackets, and then we're going to do an if else statement. So if else, here we're going to return, get rid of that error right away, vector 3.0. In here we're going to do a variable, and we're going to call it last position, last pose, whatever you want to do, equals game state dot last scene position, and then we're going to call it the scene name, like so. And then here we're going to return our last position. Hopefully now this gets rid of our errors. So we have our return statements in both. So the reason that was there is because it's just a public static vector 3. In this we need to return something. So let's say I get rid of this. We're going to get our error back. If we just came out here and we said return vector 3.0, that would clear up, because it's looking for a return. And if in an if-else statement, you need to have a return in both in here for that to work, because it needs a final return statement. So, fun little tidbit there. So this looks good to me. We're done with this one, and then we also need to set the last position as well. So we have our getters and setters here. So public static void set last scene, and then we'll call this one position too. So position, and this one's going to be a little different. We're going to do a string called scene name, but we're also going to do vector 3, and we're going to call it position. So same thing, we're going to do an if else. And here in this if statement, we're going to say, oh, I forgot to do this in the last one too. We're going to say game state dot last scene position dot contains key, and then we're going to be looking for the scene name. So scene name looks good. Let's fix this one right away too. Same thing, game state dot last positions dot contains key, and then scene name, same as the other one. Make sure we close that. Okay, looks good, looks good. Alright, so now all we have to do in this this function is create these if else statements, because we have this vector 3 in here. It's going to be returning that position. So let's say game state dot last scene position, call up that scene name, and then we're going to set that equal to our position. So that's going to be set equal to our vector 3 position. Let's see, why is this giving me an error? Let me see here quick. Because probably hope I spelled this right. There we go, simple enough. And then else, we're gonna say game state dot last scene positions dot add scene name dot position. So here, what are we doing? So for our getters, we are checking if there is a scene name, and if there is, we're going to create a variable, and we're going to set the variable to a scene name, and then we're going to return that as a last position. Last position, and last position. And then after that, we are going to set it. So then if it sees that same scene name, we're going to set that scene name to the position. But if there's not a scene name, we're going to get the last scene, and we're going to add a scene and define the position here. So this is all set up. That's all we should need to do for that. We need to come back into our navigation manager here. Actually, I think we might be good in the navigation manager. Let's actually go over to our navigation prompt, and then in here, this already calls a navigation manager, so we already have the goodies. In here, in this onCollision enter, we need to call our game state, and we need to save the last position, set that equal to false, and then we also need to do game state dot set last position, and then we're gonna do scene manager. We might need to add the scene manager to the script as well. So we're going to do using Unity engine dot scene management. That way we can call this scene manager here. Oops, not scene name. Scene manager dot get active scene. So it's going to check for what the active scene is through the name, and then we're going to make that starting position. Cool. Just like that. So obviously we don't have a starting position, so up here we need to define a variable as a vector3, public vector3. I don't know why I keep putting spaces in these. And we're gonna call it starting position. Alright, that clears that up. I don't know why we didn't get rid of this start. I'll say a comment here, variables for script. Alright, so we did the game state there, so then we also need to do it for the Ontrigger. We're going to do this within the if statement as well. Same thing, we're going to say game state save last position equals false. And then same thing down here, game state set last position or last scene position. Pull up our scene manager. We're going to get the active scene, and we're going to look for its name. Oops. Dot name, and then we need to get that vector3 starting position. Alrighty. So now all this is in here. Let's hop back into Unity. See if we got this working right now. Okay. So if we go out and we're not doing it yet, what do we need to do here? Alright, so I think what we're going to do to handle this, because we have our navigation script, I think we're just going to create another script, because we need to handle a few more things. Let's call this map position, so we can actually handle what's happening when the system wakes up. So let's come in here. There we go. Took a second to load up. So instead of this start and update, we're actually going to make an awake function. It's going to be a private void awake, and then in here we need to make a variable, call it last position equals our game state get last scene position, scene manager we need to add that to this as well. So the reason we're making this other script is because this is a mono behavior. Our other scripts are running in the background. We want this to run when the system wakes up. We don't want it to constantly be running in the background. So we need to do our using Unity engine dot scene management. I'm going to call this scene manager, get our active scene like we did, and then of course we got to get its name. And then we're going to do a little if statement here. So if our last position is not equal to, so explanation equals to 0, then we're going to, oh, there we go. We're going to do a transform position, and we're going to set that equal to our last position. So as long as we remember in the scene manager, navigation manager here, maybe it was the navigation prompt. Oh, sorry, game state. Sorry, I got a little lost there. We returned this 0 position. So as long as we're in our map positions and that position is not equal to 0, it will take us back to that last position that we saved through our game state. Sorry if that's a little confusing. I should have explained that while I was making the game state script. So also what we need to do here is make it on destroy function. So we're going to do public void on destroy, and that's an actual function through Unity, and we're going to take advantage of it. So we're going to say if our game state dot save last position, so we're checking, oh, not save last scene position, just save last position. We're checking, oh wow, we're just going to start that over. Save last position. I'm going to check if there is a last position saved, and then we're just going to say game state, and then we're going to do our set last position through our scene manager. Jeez, this is not working out for me good today. I'm going to do our scene manager dot get active scene, and then we're going to get that active scene's name, and then we're going to transform it to that position. So transform dot position. So that's that. Let's save this. Alright, I think we're good. So let's go back into Unity. We need to add that map position script to our character. Save, and let's give this a whirl. So this first time it might go to the center because we're starting in the second scene, and we're still going to the center. Alright, let's see what else we gotta do here. So I think what the issue is here is we don't have our player tagged. So remember in the script, let's see where it's at. I think it was game state or map position. We're referencing the player here. We need to reference this player in Unity as well. So we need to change this to player. But let's make sure we actually go into our prefab. See how I changed it there, but it didn't change there. Let's change this to player. Do Control S, save that. Now if we go into our other scene, save. Player's got the player tag. Okay, cool. Also, what else do we need to do here? We have 2 map positions. Let's get one of those. I don't know. I have 2. Probably because we added it in the prefab and then it added one. So we have our map position. That's good. Okay. Let's find our exits here. We have this starting point. So we need to find out where our player's transform is. So we're at 0, 0, 0. Let's test this out. If we want to have him spawn in right here, we need to go up 0.5. So we're going to go to the exit. We're going to change this to 0.5. That looks good. And then we also need to go into our house, save, do the same thing. So, and our player, we want him to spawn in probably about right there. That looks good. Negative 3.7. Let's see what negative 3.5 looks like. Keep it even. Yeah, that looks good to me. So set this back to 0. Come into our exit, and let's just say give 3.5. Okay, cool. Let's try this out. Leave. We spawn in right below. There we go. So if you see, when we very first start the game, there was no transform, and we checked if there was no transform, and if there wasn't, we'd create one when we left the scene. So we're in the center starting. We leave the scene. Now that position is saved as a last position, and then we set where we want that last position to be. So now we go in and out where we want to go in and out. We can do this too. We can add another house like right here. Maybe I'll do this in another demo, and I'll show you how that works. We could add another house and do the same thing. Actually, yeah, we'll do it later. So yeah, that about covers this for now. I think after this, we're either going to get into conversations. We can do automatic conversations or click conversations, or I might start setting up battles. So we might create a battle scene in another video and then start doing the script. The battle aspect is a lot. So I'm going to have to do multiple videos for that, because otherwise we're going to have a 2.5 hour long video on how to create battles and save everything. So yeah, that's all for today. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.